Is Demetrious Johnson top 5 of all time? Now, ever since I've started really getting into this sport and watching it religiously, I have had Demetrious Johnson in my top 5 of all time. In fact, I've had this guy in my top 3. But the more I'm thinking about it now, has Demetrious Johnson got a top 5 of all time career? Like, in terms of accomplishments, names on resumes? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, if this was solely based on fighting ability, like how good you are as a fighter, your skill set, this guy would be top 2 all time. In fact, he might even be top 1. Demetrious Johnson, in terms of his fighting skill, is one of the most talented fighters we have ever seen in the sport of MMA. He can quite literally do absolutely everything in this sport. So let's get looking at his resume. So Demetrious Johnson went on a 13 fight win streak, I believe, in the UFC, and the guy has 11 title defenses in the UFC. My eye's so fucking itchy. Right, let's go through some of these names. So he lost his last fight in the UFC. He lost to Henry Cejudo. Obviously, Demetrious Johnson did make the move over to One Championship, where he won the belt over there as well, which is another great accomplishment. But we're going to look at his UFC resume. So his last fight, he lost to Henry Cejudo. Arguably got robbed in that matchup. Let's just be honest. That there was extremely, extremely close, right? Moving on. Great finish over Ray Borg. The way he suplexed him into that armbar was awesome. Like, one of the best UFC finishes of all time. Ray Borg, plumber, right? Wilson Reyes, guy's a substitute teacher throughout the week before he fights. Tim Elliott, that's an okay win. Guy is still ranked inside the top 10 of the UFC flyweight division. Henry Cejudo is Demetrious Johnson's best win, easy. Nothing even comes close. The fact that he handed Henry Cejudo his first professional MMA loss, I'm pretty sure, and he stopped him in the first round with knees to the body. That there was a great finish from Demetrious Johnson. Then before that, you've got John Dodson, another really good win on Demetrious Johnson's resume. Then you've got this guy, Kyo Jai. Like, I'm not even going to say that name. That guy bags groceries at your local supermarket. Who is that guy? Chris Carrasco? Who? Like, you've got Joseph Benavidez. That there's a great win. He's got 2 wins over Joseph Benavidez, 2 wins over John Dodson. Arguably should have 2 wins over Henry Cejudo. So it's not like his entire resume is against plumbers. But I can guarantee you right now, a lot of you watching this video, and even myself included, I don't remember half of these guys that he's beat. I really have no idea who half of these guys are. And before people say casual, you yourself don't know who half of these people are, if we're just being honest. Demetrious Johnson, 11 title defenses. I think he's maybe the only other person who's got more than him, I believe, is John Jones, or maybe they're tied. So that there in his own right is a great accomplishment. But I feel like we're getting to the stage now in MMA where names on resumes mean more than a lot of title defenses against plumbers. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, some of these guys we're going to go through today, they don't have anywhere near the same amount of title defenses as Demetrious Johnson, but they have arguably beaten better competition than Demetrious Johnson. Like, let's start off with this guy right here. We've got Merab. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I am not saying I have Merab above Demetrious Johnson all time. This is just a great example of what I mean. So, looking at Merab's resume, right? This guy is currently on a 12-fight win streak in the UFC, so he has 1 win off tying Demetrious Johnson. And let's take a look at his resume. Now, he has 1 title defense, so Demetrious Johnson does have 10 more. We have to keep that in mind. But look at it. Look at how many champions he's beaten. Jose Aldo, an all-time great. According to some people, I do think Aldo's overrated, to be honest. But it's still a great win. Former champion. Petr Yan, great win. Former champion. He absolutely shut out Petr Yan as well. Like, that fight wasn't even close. Then you've got Henry Cejudo, former 2-division world champion. Completely shut him out in that matchup. Then you've got Sean O'Malley, another former UFC champion. Beat him. And then you've got Umar Nurmagomedov, which is his recent win, which I still think is a good win and holds up on his resume, because I believe Umar is an extremely talented fighter and will be bantamweight champion later on in his career. Although, when you look at Umar's resume, like, he doesn't have that many big wins on it outside of Corey Sandhagen. Umar's kind of like a second name merchant. But I feel like, to compare this to boxing, Merab beating Umar will age like when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo. Like, now that Mayweather's gone on and retired in his career and Canelo's just kept progressing and getting better, that win looks even more impressive for Floyd Mayweather. So what I'm saying here is, Merab has a better resume than Demetrious Johnson. Let's just call it what it is. Names on resumes. he has got better names on his resume. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's look at another fighter, for example, Islam Makhachev. Now, Islam Makhachev right now is the point for point number one. When we go and look at his resume, he's currently on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fight win streak. A 15 fight win streak. And look at the elite level of competition he's been fighting. He's beat the likes of Arman Sarukian, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, Alexander Volkanovski twice, who was point for point number one. Both times Islam Makhachev fought him. You've got Dustin Poirier, a top 5 of all time in his division. And obviously his most recent win over Moicano. Still a good win. The guy is ranked inside the top 10 of his division. But obviously when you're talking about big names that he's beaten, that's probably the weakest on Islam Makhachev's resume. Again, the guy does only have 4 title defenses. So he is a brave bit away from tying Demetrious Johnson for the amount of title defenses that he has. But he's got a longer win streak. He's beaten better opponents. Is Islam above him all time then? Do you get what I'm trying to say? I feel like we're getting to the point where names on resumes have to mean more. Another example, Stipe Miocic, greatest UFC heavyweight of all time. 2-time UFC heavyweight. Look at some of the names that he's beaten. Daniel Cormier twice. Francis Ngannou. Junior Dos Santos. Alistair Overeem. Fabricio Verdum. Andrei Arlovski. Mark Hunt, if you want to chuck him in there. I personally wouldn't, but Mark Hunt is a big name. A lot of people will remember him. Oh, and Ngannou. I think I missed out Ngannou. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have the same amount of title defenses, but again, has a better resume. Yes, might have more losses than what Demetrious Johnson does, but like, are we going to pretend that this is a sport of boxing, that like, you need to be undefeated and shit like that? I'm just saying, like, I think Stipe is like top 7 all time. With his resume and the fact he's the greatest of his division. He's a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion. And look at the names. Another example, let's just keep going. Now, this right here might be a reach, okay? But hear me out. Alex Pereira. The guy's beat 5 former UFC world champions. Now, the counter-argument to that would be, well, Demetrious Johnson can't fight all these champions because he's just been that dominant in his division, which is a great argument. But when you look at Alex Pereira, what he's done in like 13 fights, I believe, the guy has beaten Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland. He's KO'd both those guys. Obviously, he did lose the rematch to Israel Adesanya. Beat Jan Blachowicz, knocked out Yuri Prochazka twice, knocked out Jamal Hill, former champion. You know what I mean? And he's a 2-division world champion. Again, doesn't have the same amount of title defenses, but surely winning a belt in 2 different weight classes has to count for something as well. Another example, Alexander Volkanovski, the greatest of his division. Look at the names that he's beaten. Chad Mendes, Max Holloway 3 times. That there is crazy to think. He's beaten Max Holloway 3 fucking times. He's also beaten the likes of Brian Ortega, a decent name to chuck in there. Jose Aldo, he beat him as well. Again, I know I've said I think Aldo is a bit overrated, but still a really good name. How many title defenses did he get? 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 title defenses as well. He got 5 title defenses in the featherweight division. Obviously moved up to challenge for a different belt, but lost. So I don't even know why I brought that up, because that's so irrelevant to what we're on about. But you know what I mean? Less title defenses, better resume. Should he not? He's beaten better comp. Is he above Demetrious Johnson all time? Final example, Daniel Cormier, one of the most disrespected fighters in UFC history. The DC hate I will never understand. Former 2-division world champion. Look at the names that he has beaten. Frank Mir, Anthony Johnson, Alexander Gustafsson, Anderson Silva, Stipe Miocic. Crazy resume. Again, a 2-division world champion. Doesn't have the same amount of title defenses as Demetrious Johnson does. This guy's got what? 1, 2, 3. Are we going to count that as 4? I suppose it was a no contest, so 4. Then he knocked out Stipe and got a title defense in the heavyweight division. So he's defended a belt in 2 different weight classes. What I'm trying to say is, in terms of fighting ability and raw talent, Demetrious Johnson is one of the best. Easily one of the best. He's one of the most skilled fighters, if not the most skilled fighter we have ever seen in the sport. But I'm starting to think that names on resumes have to be considered more than title defenses against fucking landscapers. I'm just being honest.
Bruh.
But you can let me know your opinions in the comments below. I haven't really officially kicked this guy out of my top 5, but I just thought I had to get on and ask for your opinion. You let me know in the comments below. Is he really top 5 or not? Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.